Greetings. I am Oba William King, one of the teaching artists for Sun Foundation. I am a storyteller. So happy to be here to welcome you all for the winter warming. You know, there was a lion, King Lion, and he was walking there with his son. And as they walked along, the little son looked up at his father and said, "Father, why is it that whenever we hear the story of the lion and the hunter always wins?" The father chuckled, looked down at his little son and said, "It is because the hunter tells the story." You see, my friends, we must tell our own stories. We must share the stories with the young ones to help them grow, to give them ideas, to teach lessons, and to encourage them. Through the work with Sun Foundation, I've become encouraged to create new pieces of literary art, to share my art as a teaching artist with the young people that come from all over Illinois. And these past years have been so fabulous. For all of those that we've stayed in touch with over my 10 years of being part of the organization. I'll share with you one of the newer stories that I wrote with my drum. This story is called We Are Connected. Ancestors said to play my drum, play for you this African sound. Find the rhythm, clap your hands. We are connected to the elements. The ancestors say that I should try. Get you to raise your voice up high. Find a message in this song. This is how we'll get along. Connected like leaves to a tree. Connected like sand to the beach. Connected like stars in the sky. Yes, you and I are connected like heat from the sun. Connected, my hand on this drum. All birds with wings. Yes, everything is connected. The ancestors said to take a chance. You can make the people dance. Find a message in this song. This is how we'll get along. Connected like ice in a glass. Connected like now to our past. Connected like grass to the ground. Connected, yes, black, white, and brown. Connected. Connected like joy and pain. Connected like clouds to the rain. Connected like fish in the sea. Yes, you and me are connected. The ancestors said, the ancestors said. We are connected. The ancestors said, ancestors said. We are, ancestors said, the ancestors said. Connected. We are connected, you and I, one another to each other. We pass these connections on. I am so grateful to be a part of the Sun Foundation, and I thank you for taking time to listen to me. I am Oba William King, Illinois Arts Council and Texas Arts Council, teaching artist, storyteller.
We had done this film called The Sun Gave Man the Power. We had gone all over the country and interviewed scientists and people from all walks of life, artists, farmers, Native American people, and we asked them where we should be going for the next 200 years in our country. And Ken England, who was with the Illinois Arts Council, said, you know, I think you should become a foundation and try to get grant resources to do what you're doing and to magnify what you're doing. And he actually named the Sun Foundation. We said, well, what do we call this? And he said, why don't you call it the Sun Foundation after the film that you just made? We have a beautiful environment to connect young children to nature. There's an oak hickory forest, there's a freshwater marsh where young people can study about wetlands and the importance of wetlands and why we need to keep them. There are fossil beds that are millions of years old where young people can see the formation of a beautiful river valley and actually experience million-year-old plant life through the fossils that they discover.
Art and Science in the Woods started as a group of artists and then scientists, and we said, instead of separating the disciplines like you do at the university, you keep the science people over there and the art people have their own building, we set out to do a meeting or a melding of the sciences and the arts.
But bring it kind of another, you know, a foot, yeah, right in there, and then across all three of those smokestacks.
7. I'm trying to make this look as natural as possible, so I'm trying to...
You know, young kids need exposure. They need lots of exposure. And they also need experiences that aren't confined by an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And sometimes just that alone, the fact that you can get in the mud, you can climb up a tree and get a branch down or pick a nut, is the thing that excites that kid's interest. And I'll admit it, sometimes snakes are more interesting for some kids, not all. And painting is really challenging and interesting for some kids. So this is a way of breaking down the barriers, but also breaking down a lot of the fear.
I like all the artsy stuff that we can make with our hands.
Our instructors are so much fun and they just relax and act like us.
I'm David and I think Art and Science in the Wood is awesome.
Hi, I'm Yona. I've been teaching and volunteering at the Sun Foundation for over 18 years. I'm an instructor at Arts and Science in the Woods. I've led tours for the Clean Water Celebration. I've run workshops for the leadership teams. I've been attending and volunteering at winter warming for many years. My 3 children started as peewees and are now teaching assistants. One of the amazing things are the benefits that I get from being part of the Sun Foundation. By watching Joan and Bob lead and develop this organization, I've learned how to create and grow the culture of a successful organization. Joan and Bob exude love, give trust, and genuinely are interested in everyone, creating an environment of acceptance, personal responsibility, and self-achievement that fosters a positive and nurturing environment. My classes Are We There Yet? I teach 10 through 12-year-olds how to navigate and explore the outdoors. My students learn how to actually use a compass, not just the north, south, east, west that most of us are familiar with, but actually how to take a bearing and follow that bearing. And in order to practice that, we do a game called Compass Rose. In this game, the students are given a letter and a series of numbers. And the letters are on stakes around the circle. And then the numbers are the bearings that they have to shoot or take with the compass. After they've taken a bearing, they will end up at another letter, which they write down. After they've done all of their bearings, they go back and see how good they do by testing their letters against the key. How did the first people measure altitude? So for example, at camp, how high is the upper pond? Starting at a certain point, we have the students using a tube, a level, measuring their heights, marking spots, and we have them measure the height up to the top of the hill. Once at the top of the hill, they do the computations and the different teams compare how well they measure the altitude. And it's remarkably close. How do you use GPS? Not just in your car to navigate to a location, but to measure height, distance, direction, to put in coordinates and find them. In our class, the students use the GPS to measure from our tent up to the old oak to see how the distance that they calculated the first day actually is. We also do it to calculate the altitude from one location to the other so we can see how well they did in measuring the height of the upper pond. And then also we teach them how to do basic geocaching. This all comes together on the last day when they do this elaborate scavenger hunt, putting all the skills together in order to find the watermelon prize. In the morning, I have the major class where I have the students the entire week. In the afternoon, we have the minors, which I get a different set of students every day. My minor class is called the Challenge Course. In the Challenge Course, students run in teams to accomplish challenges like scaling the Mud Mountain, traversing the Monkey Rope Bridge, running down Alligator Alley, ascending into the handoff point, shuffling across the two-handed, 2-foot sliding metal rope crossing, soaring down the zip line, swinging on the Tarzan rope, negotiating the crawling barrels, and stopping before ascending into the mud pit. Overcoming challenges, getting better year to year, fun, outdoors, mud. What more could a kid want? I teach here because I get to give so much to so many. The love of learning, the joy of overcoming challenges, the beauty of watching confidence emerge from the week of experience. So much together in a safe, fun, and outdoor world. Come join us in the neighborhood.
The Clean Water Celebration is a 2-day event held each spring at the Peoria Civic Center in Peoria, Illinois. The largest event of its kind in the world, students learn how to make a difference by protecting water, our most precious resource. Today, it is Illinois students, teachers, business professionals, and environmentalists, joined by an odd assortment of tiny tadpoles, wiggly worms, native bluegills, and zebra mussels. There's nothing like it anywhere.
Welcome to another episode of Clean Water Champions, a virtual clean water celebration. I'm your host, Brian Fox Ellis, and today we are taking a trip back in time. Have you ever been to one of those old-fashioned medicine shows? Our guest is Dr. Icy Cold Water, and he will help us to understand what is that fabulous chemical compound. What is dihydrogen oxide?
Good morning, folks. I am Dr. Icy Cold Water, and I am here to tell you about my mystical hydration formula. This formula is rare in the universe. This formula comes from the unique blue planet, and it is capable of cooling large land mammals, leveling large landscapes, acts as a special property when used in chemistry. It is a unique and absolutely essential property, and it's something that you absolutely have to have. You can't do without my mystical hydration formula. This is dihydrogen monoxide. Yes, I said dihydrogen monoxide. And this dihydrogen monoxide is, well, water. You do want water, yes? And you want clean water, yes? Let me share with you some of the qualities of this property, of this compound. And we have here, first of all, something to demonstrate as to why it is unique and so absolutely rare here in this world. If you could imagine, we're in a large hot air balloon going way up high in the sky and looking back down at our planet, you would see predominantly the color blue. What other colors might you see? You would see the colors green, you would see the colors brown, and you would also see the color white. So what are those things and what do they represent? Well, indeed, as we're up in that hot air balloon looking back down at everything, we would see that the blue would be, oceans. And then the green would be, well, the trees, all the vegetation that surrounds us. And the brown, that would be the deserts, that would be the mountains. And then the white, well, that could be the clouds, but it could also be the ice at the top and the bottom of the planet. So with all this water, how much can we actually use? Well, believe it or not, folks, if I were to take all the water in the world and condense it down into my little kit that I'm going to show you here, if I had all this water representing all the water in the world, again, the color blue, the majority of it would be in salt water. Can we use salt water? Well, we can use it for recreation, navigation, sanitation, and again, in some cooking. But other than that, we don't really have much of a use for salt water. So most of the water on the planet we can't use. That leaves this amount. Now this looks fairly clear, which is a good thing, but this is actually representing all of the fresh water. So all the rest of the water here in my hands is the fresh water. This fresh water is locked in ice. The ice at the polar caps and glaciers all around the world, and it's not really available to us. So once again, the next largest amount of water we really can't use. Which leads me to the green. Now, do you remember what I said the green was? This green represents all the water that is caught in processes, in you, in me, in the trees, in the squirrels, and everything that's living. So can we use this water at the same time it's being used by other things? No. So the next largest amount of water cannot be used. It is not available. Which leaves me this. And this is just a smidgen of the amount of water that we have available, and it is veritably only a drop in the bucket of all the water that we have in our beautiful blue planet.
marching in place. See, when we do things like that together, that power, all of us on one accord, way in the back by the bus, left, right,